Should you record your vocals with compression on? If so, how do you do that? Or if not, how should you go about that as well? I'm going to be working in Logic like always, but if you're new to the channel, you can do this in the same process in other DAWs as well. The first thing, which is recording vocals with compression on. So what I mean by this is actually while you have your mic set up and your headphones on and the pop filter and you're in the vibe to record over a track, should you be compressing that vocal before it even lands into Logic or whatever DAW, right? This isn't possible without a few prerequisites. So the first thing you're going to need when you want to record vocals with compression on is you actually need outboard gear or a certain type of audio interface that can do it for you. Quickly, the outboard gear is like all the rack gear you see in old analog studios where you run your audio signal. Like if this is the microphone I'm recording my vocals, the XLR actually goes to the rack gear first, compresses the vocal signal, and then that goes into Logic. What I do in the box in my home studio is I use the UAD Apollo series. That's the latter thing I was talking about, which is you can do this. You can record your vocal with compression if you have any Apollo UAD interface. I'm not sure of other audio interface companies that do the same thing as this. So if you do know, please let me know in a comment. In the box, this is what it looks like. Up in my toolbar here, I have the UAD console, and this is where the vocal is actually getting compressed. So when I record my vocal, I'm looking at the UAD console first. I'm getting the right gain levels, I'm getting the right compression, and then that vocal is coming over here into Logic. For example, this vocal track here was recorded with those same settings. Let's talk about now the other way, which is recording vocals without compression. At the end, let's talk about the benefits and why you might want to do one over the other. This is how I started producing music, and it's likely what you're doing now. So this is just basically when you have your interface, whether it's a Focusrite Scarlett or an Apogee One or something, and you hook things up with your XLR cables into the interface, you have your input set up, and you just record your vocal. What's happening is the raw audio signal from your voice is getting captured right into Logic or any other DAW. There's no bad thing about that. Like, it's totally fine to do that, by the way, and I want to reassure you there. Here's the thing you can do if you work in Logic and likely in any other DAW as well. You can monitor with compression on, see what it feels like as if you had outboard gear or if you had a UAD console. Let's do that. If I reset this channel strip, and I recommend you trying this if you are just starting at that level where you're not recording with compression yet. I would add a compressor, and then you can add any other plugin as well. Set your threshold to about 4:1. Your ratio about 4:1. We're going to do threshold in a minute. A slower attack and a you can do auto release, and start singing into your microphone. If you don't hear yourself in your headphones, you're going to want to turn on software monitoring. So we can do that in preferences. If I go Command, go to General and Software Monitoring. Click that on. You're going to hear yourself in your headphones, and you're going to be pushing your vocal through this compressor now, where you can actually set the threshold and start moving the needle. This is a great way to even learn what compression is, besides the whole fact of using it. Sing a bit louder, sing a bit softer. Watch what the compressor does to your voice, and you're going to actually be hearing it in real time. If you find your voice is a bit delayed, try lowering your buffer size a bit to just reduce that latency. A slippery slope when you are monitoring with compression on, because that audio isn't being recorded in, right? So if the compressor is taming the peaks in your monitoring, that's great, but it's not actually going to be recorded in your DAW. Last section of the video, let's talk about the benefits of why you might want to record with compression on and why not. One of the main benefits of recording with compression on is it's just going to control the peaks of your actual singing voice. Notice the peaks here. There's a big peak here, but there's not a lot of peaks anywhere else. Really, everything's kind of nicely compressed. That's the main benefit of recording with a compressor. Disadvantage there is you can't fix it after the fact. So it's just a little bit of compression to maintain those dynamics and those peaks. You don't always need to record compression. If you have a vocal line or if you're recording a podcast or something, you don't need to really record with compression unless there's big changes in your dynamic. A lot of the times though, when we're making music and we have a verse or we have a chorus, there is that dynamic and melody that a compressor really helps that. Let's take a look at an example of an audio signal. If you recorded your vocal without compression, and you probably see this in Logic in your own DAWs and your own projects, this is what it would look like, something like this, these 4 regions. You sing something quiet, then you got a bit louder, then you got really loud, then you got quiet again. Notice the difference in peaks from this top peak here to these bottom signals. Compressor can help maintain those. Here's a video here on 5 exercises to do to become a better producer. And as always, I hope to see you in the next video.
When you're in the dark and you're feeling low, think you lost your